Hello, welcome to CarCast. I'm Matt, the Motorator DeAndrea here with Bill Goldberg. How you
What's up,
doing?
buddy?
Look
Well,
good?
it's
Good in the
raining.
garage?
It's raining for the first time in a couple of weeks, and I mean, I love it, but yeah, is what it is.
But you have to have a little bit of rain so you can sort of test the garage overall, check for leaks, do the garage doors seal, is everything, do you have to walk around with any buckets and place them,
No,
or is it overall it's
no,
good?
between my mouth and God's ears, we have no leaks at the moment, and we haven't in I
Good.
don't actually a month, although it's only rained once or twice. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to be able to come out here and actually kind of enjoy the garage without while it's raining without worrying about, hey man, I gotta check, see if we're leaking anywhere,
Yeah.
So we're good uh at this point. And yes, last Thursday and Friday, CHI came out and did the final garage door switch.
Yeah.
So for the sixth time, the last two 24-foot doors were done. They're fine as of right now. So I
Good.
mean, hopefully I'll never have to see them again.
I'm sure
I'll
they're saying the
live
same
by,
thing.
but yeah, exactly. I'll forever live the rest of my existence here at Goldberg's Garage without having to worry about switching fucking doors out again. Pardon my French.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus, what an ordeal. Onward and upward, as Dad.
Onward and upward. All right. Let's hit our friends at Bet Online real quick. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything online sports betting. Right now you can receive 50% free bet up to $250 off your first deposit to bet on anything from Olympics to baseball to Formula One racing. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. And when the game's over, head on over to the online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with over 150 different slot games. So just head to the website to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE, it's BLEAV, for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online, the game starts here. Uh, so I just got back from Detroit, quick trips, like 30 hours. Um, I went out with our friends from Ford, got to get in and test the new Ford Explorer. Now the driving impressions are embargoed to next week, so everybody has an opportunity to go out there. They fly people all out for a week and whatever. But overall, it's an important vehicle for Ford, right? The Ford Explorer has been around for a long time, the best-selling SUV overall in the category among all the brands. And I was like, is that because it's the longest?
Oh,
Has it been out there the longest? But it's a very successful platform for them. And it's a three-row SUV, and I think people will like what they've been doing to it to improve it and make it better and overall build quality. I got to test the ST versions as well. And again, we'll get into driving impressions, but they're doing it with the EcoBoost engines. There was no hybrids, there was no EVs. The customers have just demanded gas engine. They have the 300 horsepower EcoBoost, and it's a 300 horsepower and a 400 horsepower. Both were plenty of power, and you can get it rear wheel drive or all wheel drive. So
damn
no,
options, man. As a consumer, that's all you want, all you care about.
they put us out on the street, they put us in the dirt, they put us on an autocross. This is a three-row SUV. We got to autocross it. So I'll get into all of that stuff a little bit more next week, but um overall, I think it there's some oops, trying to trying to share some image of it, but overall, I think people would be happy overall with the improvements of it. We can show the pictures, we can show the video, we just can't get into driving impressions yet. And now what they're doing with the 21-inch wheels and the blackout trim, it's it looks good. And the trim levels are pretty well equipped. And that's the thing. It's like you get the platinum edition or you get the ST line, the active edition, whatever. Uh, it's it's nice overall. They don't have sort of the super stripped down like budget rent-a-car version. And what's interesting is they are making a new version of the Police Interceptor. And over the years, working with law enforcement groups on cooling and brakes and all the things that they need, Ford was able to take that and trickle that down to the production versions of the car. So when you get into like the ST performance version, the big brake package and stuff on it is the Police Interceptor brake package is what they're
Mhm.
doing on it. And they just, to spice it up for consumers, they do like red painted calipers and stuff on it. Without going to a more expensive Brembo kit, they were able to do sort of a massive sort of production cast caliper on it. So you get the braking performance without a huge cost. But yeah,
Smart.
yeah, it's cool to see some of that stuff. Um, and speaking of Ford, I just noticed on Autoblog, they Ford
You know,
was
you know
testing
the Dodge commercials are coming right out when you stop spitting Ford shit out.
Ford's been testing a new Lightning EV with
The first one sold so well.
well, it's selling better than anything else out there, but with hubs, with motors in the hubs, and it's funny because the images that I guess Autoblog got a hold of, uh, they they have they have the Cybertruck out there that are using as kind of a benchmark for this. So, uh, I don't know if that's probably the best benchmark. I mean,
No.
I just didn't think it was that great of a truck
A
in
gimmick
my
vehicle.
opinion.
Yeah.
But you can see what they're doing on the Ford. They got the skirting all underneath it because they don't want you to see what's happening underneath in the suspension. But when you look in the wheel, you don't see a brake disc. You see this hub with this massive, 8 lug setup. So um, I'm 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 kind of on the fence. Like on one hand, excuse me, on the performance side, I don't know that you want all of that weight on the suspension, on the unsprung weight, but for a truck, it probably works out fine. I wouldn't do your Dodge Challenger this way, but who knows?
Is it each hub?
Yeah, I think it's going to be each hub, and it's going to just be always all-wheel drive,
So
like the current one.
to segue from Ford real quick and to segue into something really cool, which was the event that happened last weekend, Goodwood.
Yes,
Did you watch any of the highlights from
I've
Goodwood?
watched them, but I follow them. This is the whole week. I just follow them on social media and watch every clip. They're awesome.
So, I mean, let's just say again what a unbelievable event that is.
Yeah.
Right? We've both been, and every time I'm not there, I'm jealous as hell. My buddy Matt Kutcher went with Fittipaldi this year and drove a Ferrari up the hill.
Oh wow.
Um, but you talk about the independent hubs with the motors, and the first thing that comes to my mind, what's the first thing that comes to your mind, Goodwood, this last year?
Um, I
Was it the fact that was it a Lotus?
The Lotus, the Lotus crashed right away. That was talked about while I was up in Detroit.
Yeah.
The Subaru, which was the gas engine car,
Mm-hmm.
uh, was the fastest like gas engine car up the hill, I think. The Ford
Was it
Super Van, but I don't
fast?
know what happened to Lotus.
The Zinger was the fastest lap that's ever been, or the fastest time ever up that hill.
I think with a gas engine vehicle. I think the EV was faster. So the Ford Super Van, I
But
think,
how about the Zinger? Didn't we have the guy
yeah,
on?
yeah.
Good
Good
for
for
him.
them. Yeah, good for them.
That wreck. So one of the hubs locked up, right? So they were doing a four-wheel drive burnout right at the start. And if one of them locks up, then you got three active.
Yeah, so that's a good question. I was trying to figure out what happened.
Well, logically, I think that would be where you point the finger.
Yeah, I think you're right. I does this have it in the hubs? Is
That's
this the
not it.
car? This is not it. This is a different version of the car.
Yeah,
They ran the production version.
it
This is
literally took off and wrecked within 5 seconds.
yeah. I don't know. It was kind of nuts. One of the other things that stood out was Gordon Murray was there
Oh,
with the T50, and
man.
then the T50 Nicky Lauda edition, which is sort of the track only version. And I love Dario Franchitti. He's such a good dude and such an amazing driver. And I we've seen him up in we spoke to him many times at Goodwood, but we see him in Monterey all the time. So I'm sure he's heading this way pretty soon. We're about a month away from Monterey Car Week. Uh, but just how ecstatic he was on driving the T50 up the hill and hearing that thing with the
Oh
fan, and
God.
then him getting into the Nicky Lauda edition, and he's like, "This is the craziest thing I've ever driven," and that's coming from Dario Franchitti.
That's unbelievable,
It's
man. I've been such
unbelievable.
a fan of Gordon Murray's ever since, he broke away. But
Yeah. Uh, Ford was out there. The Mustang GTD was out there. They were running that on the on the hill, and
Hemi Underglass went up, which was cool as shit.
yeah, yeah, this is a little bit of a clip of the GTD. Looks good in blue. You got to go back to their social media and try to listen to a bunch of these cars. This thing
Oh,
is screaming. This thing is screaming, and it sounds awesome. I don't. The T50 wasn't like super loud, and you can hear the fan and that other fan car. The uh, McCurry? What was it called now? I forgot what it was. The one that was fast last year. They ran a version of that thing. Um, and by the way, it's not a car that Gordon Murray likes, but it was cool to see, and it makes this crazy sound. Gordon Murray was like, he's like, I don't like that car. He's like, they're not doing it right. He's like, it's just a fan that just sucks the car down. And he goes, and it sucks everything through the car. He goes, so when you see it, it's like a leaf blower from underneath the car, just blowing dirt and rocks and crap. And he's like, mine doesn't work that way.
I could see him saying,
And he's so always his demeanor is always just sort of calm the whole time. And you kind of get him to laugh a little bit. But he's just so reserved. He's just sort of this comes off as like this proper English gentleman, but he's got some strong opinions about some of those
he just is
some of
smart
those
enough to
things.
keep him to himself.
Yeah. Is this the zinger? Yeah, this is the zinger. Let me see if I can show this to you guys
It's
as
like the
well.
dude was poured into it.
Yeah, so
Cam bean right there. That's right where I wrecked, coming right
yeah.
out here.
Well, look,
Boom.
you're not the only one.
I know, but still,
Yeah.
yeah, that car.
That car was hauling. Good for them. I'm happy for those guys.
He busted the side mirror right there, coming through. See that hanging off of it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I see it falling down. Um,
I just know
such
how
a
much
cool
fun it
event.
is. And you do too. I mean, what a freaking event. It's just awesome. And the feeling you get sitting on that starting line and taking off for the first time is just badass. And I mean, it was just awesome.
Yeah, this car, I'm surprised. This is the Subaru that Scott Speed ran up there, and with uh, it would set the record for the day, and then the Ford Super Van, which is electric, came out and just beat it. Although this one is gas powered. I'm a little surprised they ran it all in like the flat black for an event like this. I thought it would just be a little bit more livery and a little bit more exciting, but seeing it and hearing it when you go back and hear it, all of these videos on social media are cool to see when you could be able to hear these cars, but this thing was scooting.
Just the eclectic group of cars that are there and the people, obviously, but it's just the coolest event ever. I mean,
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah, it is for sure. Now, it did rain because it's the UK, and that's, I guess, what happens. And they did run one of the days wet, and you could see some slipping and sliding
How
for
about the
sure.
dude in the Charger that drifted up?
I saw that. Now, here, you want to see the save of the day.
Badass.
Here is the save of the day if you guys are watching this on YouTube. But this guy is in a Bentley and it's raining, and the Bentley's got power, but it's a big, heavy.
Heavier than
Yeah,
shit.
this is the two-door convertible, and uh, watch this little move. He gets around in front of
Right.
he gets around in front of the
Overcorrects.
audience, and he's
Yeah.
sliding, and he goes
Oh,
around. He does a
nice.
360, saves it, and keeps going up the hill. And you know
Awesome.
what's crazy is there was a passenger in that car doing the ride
Oh,
along,
yeah.
filming it, and that guy was just puckered up his like he popped a hemorrhoid on that one because
I wonder if he still was able to film it throughout
I
the.
don't know. I wish I knew who the passenger was because I'm sure it's on social media somewhere. But that was a crazy move. And the commentators are funny. They're all having a good time.
They're definitely different.
Anyway, yeah, Goodwood. I miss going out there. I'm looking forward to Monterey. Corolla and I are going up there. He's bringing the BRE Datsun Roadster, the first BRE Roadster, which he's raced years ago, and he likes to remind us he won the Rolex Cup. And I was like, "What's the Rolex Cup?" He's like, "I have no idea." Because I don't know. I don't even know if you have to win or what happens,
Sailboat
or
race.
you just show up. He's like, all I know is they gave me a trophy and it was awesome. And it says the Rolex Cup. Uh, but the plan is to bring that car back out there, do some racing. Hopefully we'll be able to hit the Quail and hit Pebble uh, and thanks in advance to everyone who's always so nice and offers, hospitality and invitations to everything. And we try to do as many fun things as we can while we're up there. It's tough. It's tough because that event, like we were talking about, just like Goodwood, it just starts to become the event where more and more cool things are debuted, and not just the craziest supercars, like Mustang GTD was last year, and probably something
And
from
I mean,
uh
look at SEMA. I
yeah.
mean, you'd never have enough time. The bigger it gets, the cooler it gets, the less you get to see. I mean, it just sucks. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, SEMA, I'm gonna be out there for the week. Tammy and I, the past couple of years, we've just sort of turned it into a week-long stay out there. Now, granted, I'm a little bit more at the SEMA show, kind of running around, grabbing interviews, trying to do podcasts and all that stuff. Well, she is taking the dogs for a walk and going to the pool at the hotel, which is totally fine. But uh, she comes
oh,
over to SEMA for a bit, and SEMA Fest last year, which I thought was fun. It was a little overzealous, but um, they got some interesting plans for this year. So if you haven't heard about it yet, um, the plan this year is, instead of a Friday and Saturday night 2-night concert, it's going to be a single night, and it's going to be at the convention center after SEMA.
I
So
haven't seen it, but it should be Friday night.
it's Friday. Yeah. It's Friday after SEMA. You could buy tickets for the concert, or because they open up SEMA to the public, you could buy a package of going to the SEMA show on the floor and then going to the concert. They're going to have Cage the Elephant. They're going to have Sublime, Fits and the Tantrums, which years ago, when Adam launched his Mangria brand, we did a launch party, and Fits and the Tantrums played before they had the one hit song, and then nobody really knew of them that much yet. And they're certainly not to the scale they are, as popular as they are, and they were fantastic. Uh, they played basically like in this huge backyard party. If you anybody that remembers that party, Adam used to own a house in like North Malibu area with a huge backyard and a great view, and we turned the whole thing into like a party and a press event, and they played. Now his friend John Popper came out from Blues Traveler, and he is so awesome, and he's such a nice guy. Uh, that and then Fits and the Tantrums played, so it was good. So I'm excited to see them again. It'll be a fun party. And you're right. I think they've kind of got a grasp on it now. They're gonna try it for Friday night at the convention center. after, I assume like in the parking lot or something after the SEMA show closes.
Well, yeah,
It'll
I
be
mean, you
fun.
have to take advantage of the people that are already there. If you want to separate, I get, I mean, we talked about this a lot with him, right? And the people that weren't a big part of the SEMA convention, you want to get the other people to take part in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
But
they were trying to get
for it
people
to be
into.
exciting, you still have to get the people who are the original, band members of SEMA to want to be there at the same time. If you do it Saturday, that gives them 24 hours to take off and get their ass out of Vegas.
Yeah.
But if it's convenient and it's right there on Friday night, then you get the advantage of having the guys that are already set up. They're already
Yeah,
there. Right?
and as we get a little bit closer to the event, we'll bring Tom or somebody back from SEMA and talk to them again, and I'm sure they'll be happy to talk about it. And what I would like to see is I would like to see uh, them, be a more accommodating to the exhibitors that have been there because they're doing it Friday night. You want the exhibitors that have been working all week to be able to participate. And honestly, I if it was me, I would comp them tickets. Like,
I'd comp them tickets 100%
yeah,
because that's another way of advertising. You get the people that are the attraction at the SEMA show to show up at another extended SEMA event, then it's logic that you're going to get the crowd with them. So I
yes.
mean,
And you want to make the bands happy. And the bands are happy when there's a large audience. And
yeah,
if you can say, hey, every exhibitor that paid a lot of money to be on the SEMA show, depending on your booth size, maybe we're going to comp you, 5, 10, 15 tickets, then the bands are going to be like, yeah, there's a few thousand people here, not just the tickets that they sold, but the tickets that were included as part of the package, the
I,
exhibitor package. I say you're comping them, but if it's 35 bucks a ticket and they're
they're
paying
not really
thousands of
comping.
dollars, like it's not that
Well, and truth
far
be
of a
told, we
stretch.
truth be told, we've spoken to both sides, right? And
Yeah,
we are on both sides, and the exhibitors need to feel as though they're getting more for their money than they have been.
I agree.
And this is the perfect way to say thank you.
Yes.
I mean, one of them for sure. So I think that's a no brainer.
Yeah, I think it'll be exciting. And look, I'll be there. Uh
Oh well, shit. We all ought to, we have to go.
Yeah, I think so for sure. And stay tuned as well because in the next month or two, we're gonna hopefully have some announcements on podcasting we're gonna be doing out there, trying to get some live shows and stuff going on, but it's all kind of in the works. It's always kind of tough to get those deals done, but we're gonna be out there in some capacity. We'll just try to figure out what that is and bring it to you. But
Got to
um
stay tuned. Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So what's going on with you? I know this show has been posted a little bit late because I was in Detroit with Ford, but you you're going live on Instagram? Where
No, YouTube, man.
YouTube, live on YouTube tomorrow.
Yeah, I've been posting around 2, 3 p.m. Eastern time most every Friday. And we wanted to do something different this week, right?
Yeah.
And we had to pick the week that right now on Thursday, it's raining like hell. And so it was going to be a nice driving segment. Tyler McCoy, a kid who's been on the show before, we did a C6 Magnaflow install on his vet.
Yeah, I
And
remember that.
he went out and I'm just going to reinforce the fact that this kid, this 19-year-old is a serious gearhead. And I'm not going to say much more except for the fact that he bought a Corvette that looks like it should have been on the Lightning McQueen movie. And it's got around 700 horsepower. And the fact that it's raining and it's going to be wet tomorrow, whether it rains or not, is going to provide for an interesting show.
So,
So I'd say tune in and see if I live through tomorrow's show.
so this I saw the clip. We talked a little bit about it. You invited him over and to help him install Magnaflow exhaust on his Corvette, right? So he did one installation of a Magnaflow exhaust, and now he's in over his skis on a 700 horsepower hot rod.
Well, that's just the storyline that people are going to see. The
Yeah.
fact is, this kid is more of a gearhead than anybody in this town. All he does, he works at Home Depot, and then when he's off, all he does is he spends time in the garage. He knows these Corvettes like it's
Good.
nobody's business, and I just smile, when you see a younger kid that's so into the hobby, and I just kind of want to turn the camera on live from inside the cockpit of that C6 and just watch him go. Right. I don't want him to kill me. I don't want to do anything super spectacularly dangerous, but I just want people to see the passion that's still out there. And it's possible for it to be handed down to the next generation because there's still a handful of kids that love these freaking cars. And
Yeah.
I don't want to say I'm turning into a softy, but it's wholesome to see. It's good to see. I mean, it really is. And you live vicariously through them. And you're like, yeah, shit. I remember when I bought my first car that was over 600 horsepower and how excited I was. And I mean, this kid he sleeps in his freaking car. He just absolutely loves them. And just to be able to show that passion live, not scripted, not edited, I think it's a cool way of getting out there. So we're just trying to provide the listener or the viewers with something kind of different. So 3 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, I'll be going live on Goldberg's Garage on YouTube.
On YouTube. And keep an eye on Goldberg's Garage Instagram for the announcements and stuff, as that's probably
Yeah, today
announce it
I'm gonna do
ahead
a
of time.
little ad telling people what we're doing. But yeah, we're just trying to have fun, man. That's all. Having fun.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right. So yes, as you said, tune into Goldberg's Garage YouTube channel tomorrow and watch the live stream, which should be kind of fun. Hopefully it's not raining. I'm sure it's gonna be a little wet out there, but
Pray to
hopefully,
God it's not raining.
yeah.
If it is, then we'll do donuts inside the garage.
Well, everything's in the garage now. You'd have to move stuff out. I don't know if it's
So I
gonna.
changed. I had to move. I had all the freaking car on one side, the side where they took the doors in and out. I had to move every bit of the old stuff in this area. So there were 11 cars over here as of 48 hours ago. But now we have a little bit of room to have some fun. And I don't know. We'll see. Never know. I put it this way: if it's raining, I'm gonna have him at least do a burnout from one side of the garage out the end door. So yeah, it'll be fun, man. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be good. Uh, a little follow up on the truck, the new Lightning that I'm going to be bringing to SEMA with Real Truck. We've been doing some revisions and stuff on it. So I had gone over to IBOC, if you guys remember, and we did a little bit of a lowering kit on it, sort of a leveling kit, but instead of raising the front like a lot of trucks, we lowered the back. And that's just to give it a little bit more of a sport truck look to it. And yeah, it looks good. But what's happening is you can't get these trucks too low with the independent rear in the back and the coil spring. It bottoms out pretty easily, and it changes the camber. You'd have to make some adjustments to it, and without going to a really complex and expensive coilover system, which I'm sure you can find, this is a more affordable solution where we did new coil springs put onto the factory front coilovers and in the rear perches with iBox shocks, and got it lower. But admittedly, it was a little rough. Now I haven't posted my YouTube video on it yet because I was testing it and I wanted to have an end to the story. And what happened is we did the installation, which I captured some of that on film, drove it for a while, went back to them and said, guys, it's bottoming out on the bump stops. It's too rough. Help me come up with a solution. They worked on it for a while. They came up with a solution. We went back over there and installed some new stuff. And again, for you guys on YouTube, I'll show you pictures of what it is. And of course, I'll put together a YouTube video and I'll put it up on the CarCast channel. So one of the pictures is just kind of an idea of where we just did the springs and shocks. There's no bump stops shown in here. And here's a picture of the front suspension. You can see it together. And it looks, it looks good. Of course, the truck is still pretty new, so everything looks pretty new in there. But in the rear, we changed the bump stops, the fixed bump stops on the chassis, and there's like a bump stop on the shock. And they made new materials for it to make it softer. So when you do get on those bump stops, it's a much more compliant ride. And overall, it's good. So I know a lot of people that are in the Lightning forums and the groups on Facebook groups keep looking for solutions. Guys are cutting springs and things like that. And you do want to be aware of a number of this. And this would apply to anybody lowering vehicles if, or changing the ride height in any capacity. Especially with so many sensors on the vehicles now. Some of them have cameras and cruise control and the active cruise control. All of those things go out of whack when you start changing the height of your vehicle, lowering or raising it. And in this case, the F-150 has the onboard scales, and the onboard scales is just a sensor with a tie bar in the back, and it also affects the adjustable headlights if you have those. So I went back to them and said, you know what, these are look like stamped pieces of metal that are bent and cut. So maybe hit the water jet, make new upper and lower brackets, maybe even something adjustable. And when I was over there, they didn't have the new pieces cut yet, but they made 3D prints of the new brackets, and it has a slotted groove in it, so you can adjust it depending on
That's cool.
how you want to do it. So they'll send those over at some point. It'll be easy for them to just like cut it out on laser or the water jet and just bend it and send them over. But honestly, they could probably 3D print them if they wanted to. There's with the plastic, it doesn't really have like a load on it. It's just two brackets and with a tie
We'll
bar and
see
when the
when they
suspension
install them
goes.
in your car.
Yeah. I was like, you can 3D print them. I'll try them out. And I told them, I said, you know what? Even lowered, I could, without taking the wheel off, I can get behind the wheel with a little ratchet and replace the brackets on that sensor without even taking anything off. So I said, so don't even worry about like trying to do it here. Just send it to me when you want, and I'll take pictures of it and I'll put it in there and show you.
Nice.
It still needs some sort of rear camber kit. When you lower it, it pitches those rear wheels in a little bit. And
Well, you should fit in LA then.
yeah, and uh, it does cause a little bit of scrubbing on the tire. So working on a solution for that, and then I'll keep you guys updated. But truck looks good. It's got a good stance to it now, and it seems to be working well. So yeah, kudos to Ibach for putting that together. And I'm sure they're going to have a fully functional kit. I believe there's a part number for it, and you can order it, but they've made some revisions to it. So if you have an existing kit, by the way, feel free to reach out to them, and I'm sure they will send you the revisions, like the bump stops and stuff, and say, listen, if you don't like the ride quality, they can fix it. So yeah, it's cool to see all that happen and get that worked out.
Shout outs, Nitto got the
Yeah.
tires. Thank you guys very much. It's the TRX runs really good with 37s with tread on them. So can't thank you enough. Holly, you guys
Yeah.
with MSD stuff for the Candymatic. Hopefully that'll be installed next week and we'll get that damn thing running. Actually, I'm probably going to film it tomorrow, but yeah, man. And that Astro AI charger. Thank you guys. I'm still trying to find a car with a dead battery around here so I can test her out.
Yeah. And before we wrap up, thanks to all of you guys that have been coming in and grabbing some Bravago, the hard seltzers. We did a local event here, the West Coast Taco and Beer Fest. And those of you that went, you saw the line we had. It was massive. It seemed to be, I mean, the compliments we got, people were coming up and saying, this is the best drink by far of everything there. Any other seltzers, beers, people loved it. Tammy and I could not open up cans and pour them fast enough. We went through hundreds and hundreds of cans. There must have been 1,000 people, and you're only supposed to pour like 3-ounce, 4-ounce, samples. And people just kept going back in the line, back in the line, back in the line.
Man,
And
awesome.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's available on the website. We ship it to 37 states, but we are in Southern California in a handful of Total Wine and More stores. I put the list of those stores up on the website, and we just got approved for a few more stores. So coming soon would be West Hollywood, Pasadena, Glendale, Woodland Hills. But we already have Culver City, Long Beach, Redondo Beach, Huntington Beach, and Carmel Mountain in San Diego, which is not too far from your old home stomping grounds over there.
Yes,
So
sir.
a handful of stores, and I want you guys to try it. So we constantly do tasting events in those stores. This weekend I will be in Huntington Beach. So Saturday, July 20th, I'll be at Huntington Beach at 3 p.m. And Saturday, the 27th, I should be at the Total Wine at Culver City at 3 p.m.
If you
And
want to see that badass lowered
the truck in the parking lot.
truck in the parking lot, then go visit it.
Yeah. But come in, try it, and follow Drink Bravago on social media, please. And if you do, we would love the followers, and we'll keep you updated on when we're doing the tasting events and whatnot. So again, I appreciate you guys getting it. I appreciate everybody that likes it.
Hey, I'm doing Roadkill Nights the 9th and 10th of August. Maybe why don't you reach out to Kate and see if there's a party going on both of those nights. See if you could get some Bravago in there.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, I should do that.
Yeah.
I'll touch base with them, and it won't be public, but happy to get the Dodge guys on board with our drinks. But all right, think we're gonna wrap it up. So guys, thanks so much. Are we missing anything?
Missing everything, mostly brain cells. But Presley's back, just to let everybody know. She took a shit right outside the truck last night, and yeah, it's awesome.
That's how she'd let you know she's back.
Yeah. Oh, and she know. So I got video. I left to go pick Wanda up at the airport yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Come into the garage. I open up the garage door. I come in. I go into the wash bay where the TRX is, right? So I hit the garage door opener. There's one in front. There's one behind, right? So I hit the one. Damn, did you hear that?
Yeah.
That would be thunder.
Oh, wow. I did hear that.
Going nuts. So I open up the garage door and I look at the freaking rearview mirror, and there's Presley standing right behind me. And what is she doing? She's drinking water. And I'm looking, because it's usually when you got a heavy condensation, it's dripping from the roof, right?
Yeah.
Through the drains. And I'm thinking, it's not raining. It hasn't rained. How is there water? And I look, and Presley taught herself how to freaking turn on the spigot. So she turned the spigot on and she's drinking out of the spigot. And I'm just
like, I bet she doesn't turn it off.
No, she did not turn it off. Yeah. So
that's funny.
The drama continues. Yeah, I thought it was
that's funny. Like, on one hand, what do? Like, you could put a lock on it now, but she wants the water, so I don't,
Nope. What the problem is that she goes to the barn and she grabs the spigot and she breaks it. So she busts the PVC, and so yeah, she does that here. I'm gonna have to cut her head off. I mean, I don't know. I gotta cut her head off.
All the antics on the ranch. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We're gonna wrap things up. Until next time, keep the air in the spare and the bag in the wheel.
Boo.